Welcome to Life in the Music Business, a masterclass with Professor Pooch and your host, BACEFACE.
Hey, how's it going, guys? And welcome back to Life in the Music Business with Professor Pooch. Here at Life in the Music Business, we are all about self-empowerment for the music business entrepreneurs. So we like to empower and help as many people as we can.
And you know what's really funny is that so many people are entrepreneurs and don't even know it. It's funny, the word entrepreneur, because it's really out there. Kind of, it sounds really sophisticated. It just means you work for yourself. You're a musician. You might have your own label. You're doing it yourself. You're not working at a store or a shop or anything like that. You're on your own and you depend on yourself. Now, you could be a regular worker and be an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur is when you're doing your own stuff. Like if you're a musician or a singer or a rapper or whatever, I mean,
It's a cool term, and I feel like it's been super popularized now in the era that we live in, because a lot of people are realizing that they don't have to work a 9-to-5 job to make a living. They can actually do something they enjoy.
yeah, that's why one of these times we're going to get into my subject of called meanwhile, while you're trying to become a big star, all the things you could do to earn money, it's ridiculous in so many directions and people don't see it.
Yeah, they don't. And I feel like with TikTok and different platforms that are out in the public now, there's a lot of people informing and educating. So a lot of the things that you wouldn't necessarily have access to now, people are able to learn about. Like, I know some people selling stuff on Amazon that are making hundreds of thousands a year just doing that.
Hey, it's just the idea is you want to find something that obviously you have to be really special at, talented at, whatever. And a lot of people don't even realize you're special. Some people say, hey, you're special. It reminds me of my wife, my first wife, who actually told me what I was doing. I had no idea I was doing all these different things. I just, being me, I just, oh, I am? I'm doing that? Is that what I'm doing? Where was I? We were at the, oh, you have to be, super talented at what you do, and you should stand out, in some way. And that it definitely has to be a need for your service. Now, you don't need a gigantic need, depending on the price. Obviously, you need a gigantic, if you have 3-cent things, even though I don't know of anything that sells for 3 cents anymore. But if you're selling things for hundreds of dollars, you just need, one out of 1,000 people maybe to like what you're doing and stuff. And you never know. And, it's amazing. People don't think about this kinds of stuff. I mean, God, just between me and you, we do so many things. I mean, God, you could run down a list. And what you do, I used to do. But I just ended up more on the side I do. I started as a recording artist, writer, songwriter, producer, et cetera, et cetera. I was started at 16. And that's how I got 50 years in, and I'm not off the edge of the earth, okay? But I started out there, and the artist part, not the way they wanted to turn me into, but I still do, and I still do songwriting, producing another time, basically. But what I've been led to because of what happened to me when that record company, major label, put out one of my songs and my name wasn't on it, I decided, I better learn the business.
Of course.
So for the last 35 years or so, I really enjoy protecting people and helping people. As people know about me, there's one thing I can't handle because nothing bothers me, it drives people crazy. Don't you? But if there's any form of abuse, and I look at my fellow musicians, and this started, God, in the late 70s, people were coming to me, help, Pooch, what do I do? You know something about this kind of stuff. Hey, Pooch, what do I do here? Help, I'm not getting my money, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I really got into helping people, and I just, I still play my guitar. You can see it whatever direction.
Beautiful guitar, by the way, for people that don't know. It's actually made of real wood, and it's been around so long that it's just
it's
that natural flavor to it.
It's 1973 Guild D50. I don't think they make them anymore.
You find
But
that
the
book there.
sound, you know what it's been used for? It's been in, oh God, many hundreds of sessions. And what it gets used for, a lot of rock bands will play their electric and then play My Guild underneath it because
Mm.
it's so full sounding. It resonates on its own. It doesn't need reverb or any of that stuff. It just resonates. It's a big guitar. You know, people, it's funny. People say, Pooch, why, you're a little guy. Why do you have such a big guitar? I don't care about that stuff. I just want to know, I have small hands. Can I play the neck? And how does it sound? Everything else, I don't care. You know,
Boy,
I have
boy,
to be able to play and it's got to sound good.
I played it. I played it once or twice, and each time I was just blown away. I'm pretty sure I wrote like 3, 4 songs every time I played it. Just like it was amazing.
Well, I want a piece of publishing
Man,
it.
it's
No,
tough
but
times out here, man. I'll give you
well,
whatever
well,
you need.
you know, if you think about it, but then what else am I doing? Multiple streams of income. And we're going to get to yours too. Is, you know, well, I'm an educator. I do lectures, I do shows, I do this, I do that. I love educating and helping people. I work on a lot of boards, nonprofits and stuff to help people, musicians and stuff. They took all the arts out of the schools.
I know.
And, you know, we were talking about that. You know, we learned instruments in school.
Yeah.
You know, that's where both of us got started. And now they've taken all the arts out of the schools because it's the first budget cut.
Yeah, they started doing that when I was in like 7th grade. So like I was like,
it's been building up. It's really bad right now. So what we do after school programs and getting people instruments, it depends on which board I'm on, doing what, where. But, you know, I enjoy that. I enjoy helping people, you know, guiding people. When they succeed, I feel good, you know. So I like to be a part of something, you know, part of a family and building things. So I do quite a lot of things. And tell me what you do, and let's see if you hit them all. Because it's hard to tell sometimes what you do yourself. You might have to tell me I do things I don't know.
Oh man, I mean, so I can start from the top. Like I started off in IT. My dad has been working with computers, data recovery, websites, all that type of stuff for over 30 years. So I grew up taking apart laptops, putting the computers together, building my own PCs, building my own Macs, doing all that stuff. It went into coding and website design and graphic design and video editing, and I even went into gaming for a few years. I was kind of getting a little bit of recognition in gaming, and then nowadays I'm a record producer, I'm a music producer, I'm an audio engineer, mixing engineer. I do some mastering. I do a lot of marketing, advertising for artists, from their websites to SEO to Instagram, Facebook ads, to Google ads. I also now am able to help guide people through their careers with the help of Pooch, which is a massive thing. And I mean, and I'm a musician at my core. So
yeah, right. I understand that. It's like people say, why don't you become a lawyer, Pooch? You know, all this stuff. I don't be a lawyer. I'm a musician, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to do music. I don't want to get, no.
Yeah, and that's the reason I did all this, because it was always with me. It was always that one thing. It was like, oh man, my mom yelled at me. I'm mad at her. Like, go in my room, play the guitar.
If you think about it, you're doing a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's work. People don't understand it is work, but it's for yourself. It's not for somebody else. People say, oh man, that's a lot of work. And I say, well, don't you at your day job that you hate doing a lot of work and somebody else benefits, and you just they make sure you get just enough money to pay your bills, but not get ahead and leave.
Yeah.
You know, you're so busy making money, you don't have a chance to make money.
And it's only getting worse too, because it's like near impossible to actually make a decent living doing, like, just even working a 9 to 5 isn't as fruitful as it was at one point, because I mean, just with the money that the US dollar not being what it's worth when back in the day, you know what I mean? Everything has been changing. So it's more, especially now with Corona and everything, it's really getting people more self-aware.
Yeah.
You know,
that really pushed it. Yeah.
Yeah. And believe it or not, like 2020 was like a tough year, right? But
yeah,
at the same time, it was my greatest year. Like I accomplished a lot in that
so
time.
did I, because you had a choice. Remember, you always had that choice of attitude,
Yeah.
you can pick the good side and work to help yourself move forward, or just sit there and feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah, of
Sure,
course.
choice.
Yeah, and I mean, some days you want to just relax, and you're allowed to do that. But at the same time, if you like, it's almost like what you put in is what you get out. So if you want to become successful and do this, and you're telling me that, oh, I want to become a hit artist or number one producer in a year or two, I mean, that's a bold statement within itself. But that also means that you're putting in 8 to 12 hours of work consistently for those 2 years.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't understand all the work. And even if you go with the major, oh, they're going to put you through artist development and vocal things. I mean, some of the top major artists are taking vocal lessons almost daily.
Yeah.
Some even with the top voices. It's a lot of work for that thing. But, I mean, I love what I do. It's, I'm my own boss. I love that entrepreneurial part. I can go to sleep when I want, unless a client needs me. I like being my own boss. I don't need to be a multi-millionaire. I'm eating good. I think I have it fairly good,
Yeah. I mean, money's not what it's always cracked up to be. Everybody always
No,
thinks like,
are
especially
you
when
happy or not?
yeah, exactly. When you look, especially when it comes to the music industry, everybody's always looking at like, oh, who has the most clout, who has the most this. But I mean, if it's really not even their fault, because even the labels nowadays are really just going after people that have the numbers. Like their music may be subpar, but because they have 100 million likes on TikTok, then that kind of they see it as like counteracting it like balances itself out. When in
It's like,
reality,
let's see what we could do. We could do something with that person. We'll figure out how to put it through.
yeah,
But yeah,
tough
yeah,
because
but
not majority
but
of the
you can't aim for that. It's like people trying to aim
yeah.
to do a viral video. You
Yeah.
can't aim. You just never know.
Exactly. You think that guy with the cranberry
I
juice?
was thinking the same
You
thing.
think you think he woke up that morning and was like, "I'm gonna make a viral video"? He just did what he was just being himself. Like I follow him on Instagram. He's hilarious, by the way. But
Well, that's the key.
he,
Is he having fun? And I'm sure
yeah,
he's eating now.
yeah.
So, I mean,
And that's the one
like,
thing actually that I never actually got a chance to mention. Like that's one of the things that I envy most of you is that you are always you, no matter what. Like you are the best at being yourself out of anybody I've ever met in my life.
well, the funny part is, to me, it's the easiest thing to do is just be yourself.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. And I was guilty of this when I was younger. I tried to be like, when I was young and growing up, I tried to be like some of the other more successful or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very uncomfortable and really didn't fit. And it took me till I was about in my 20s to realize that, whoa, wait a minute. Look, I'm me. And I don't know if I told that story. I don't think I did tell that story. This is a true story of how I ended up with the second major producer. And that is this guy, this is the mid 70s. And this guy, who I had no idea, but he sounded like a cool guy, wanted to bring somebody up to me who to help him in the music business to get started. Okay, I was starting to guide people just in the beginning in the mid 70s. And okay, and stuff. And what I did was I used, for example, to show him something about what he wants to do with his music, I was showing him a cassette, that's what they used back then, of my music. And it was so funny because I have to go back one step on this, which is really important step. And that is, and I've said this several times, I'm sure, that they try to make me into something I wasn't. But starting around 1976, 77, like I said, look, I just got to be me, and I let it loose. And whatever hell happened, happened. This is what I sound like. I'm not going to sound pretty. I'm a rocker. Okay. So now coming back to it. So what happened was I had put a couple songs that I just let loose on. And it just happened, I could use that to show as example of writing with this guy or something.
Mm.
And all I know is it went nice and everything like that. And they thanked me and all that stuff. When I went back into my room that I was working with, the cassette of my stuff was missing.
Wow.
The guy had taken the cassette. Now, I had no idea who this guy was. and wondering what the hell. And I find out his name was B.J. Mason. He died, but he had a half brother named Gene McDaniels who did Roberta Flack, Gladys Knight, and all people like that. You know, major people. I Feel Like Making Love, which was a major, major hit record. And you know, the guy stole it, and it turned up in a good place. It was his stepbrother. He didn't want to say anything. You know, he just took it.
It's funny.
That's how I got my second record deal. You just never know because you know, like I said to Gene, I said, I'm not a singer. He says, so I just let loose and I was real, and that was that. And he liked that, you know, and there's some weird stories that can come out with that whole situation. We got into a strangest situations back then, and there was a lot of racial stuff back then.
I can only imagine what it was like to be in the industry then.
Now, picture this.
Mm-hmm.
We ran into problems because I'm this white dude and I'm doing rock and roll being produced by a black guy.
Nowadays, you wouldn't even consider that. I mean, it's like insanity.
I'm just telling you the way it was.
Wow.
And we ran into problems with this. You know, I could play songs and stuff because I'm not there, you know, through a black. If it wasn't rock and roll, it might have worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but we found out, you know, when it went to the majors at the time, still basically what there was, you know. But Gene ended up not only, you know, working with me and with the music. I mean, he was my main mentor. Because he got screwed. He had 5 top 10 hits in the 60s as an artist, but he never saw any of that money. And he was one of the first indie producers.
Just so happened to have met you. I mean,
yeah, through a stolen cassette by somebody from, I mean, this guy was in Beverly Hills and his brother is in Philly, you know? I mean, it was just, and his stepbrother, I didn't recognize because the names were different. One was Mason and one was McDaniel.
It's funny how that works.
The stories of the music industry. I mean, but this is where the good, the bad, ugly, you never know. But then it's again of, you know, just persistence. And if you keep meeting with people, you just never know what's going to happen.
I think another thing that is important here too to say is that like letting loose and just saying, hey, listen, this is who I am, and if you guys don't like it, then change the channel, like Pooch always says, because every opportunity I've ever had is when I said, oh, screw it, I'm just going to do it and just see what happens. And that's when I was able to progress myself. And same thing with Pooch, with multiple different things.
Well, to me, it's just being real. To me, it should be real easy just to let loose and be yourself and not give a damn what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says about me or anything like that. Yeah. They can like my music, not like my music, like this, not like whatever and stuff. I'm just being me, and you know, you can always change the channel if you don't like me. That, by the way, that's superstars. They have to be that way. You're on a stage. It's like, look, you know, if you don't like me, go to somebody else. You know.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, there's so many people that at that level, like they're being watched like a hawk by all the publicities and the public. I mean, the publications and all the major outlets are always on them, taking pictures of them. Oh, who are they with? What are they doing here? What are they doing there? So if they,
well, that's part of the story thing, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy how we look up to celebrities like that, but celebrities just have major exposure and a lot of important people working for them to be able to get their name out like that. So it's like they're just like us. That's what the point I'm getting at is like I've met the most successful, the highest paid musicians or artists, and they're just like us. They just walk in the room. They're like, "Hey, what's up?" They just happen to have security with them, so they.
No, but the point is that they wanted to be treated normal, you know, just like a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the best, and then they can let down, and you can let down. It's where I've always been able to get along with people. You know, they come here or whatever and stuff, for whatever reason, can't figure me out by the way I look and what they've heard about me and all this stuff. And within 5 minutes, we're like old friends.
Yeah.
Because I'm just being me. And if I'm being me, it allows them to be them. And I want them to be just the real thing. I don't want to meet who you're trying to be. I want to meet who you are. That's the thing. When I work with artist development, that's something else I do too. I keep figuring out what I used to do. With artist development, I never try to change anybody. And some people are afraid, oh, we're going to change. No, what I do is bring out who they really are. Because I believe every one of us is unique. And if we just let loose, it sounds more like how you would, instead of trying to sound like something, whatever. But
Agreed.
yeah, just
Totally agree, because it's like,
it's easy, folks. You don't have to try to be like anybody else.
yeah, and it's we always try to find that unique sound, and try to be.
You don't have to try to find it. Just be it.
That's what I'm saying, is that everybody is unique in their own way, and the unique sound that you're looking for as an artist, producer, any part of this industry is just you being yourself and just being comfortable in your own skin. And that resonates with people, because then they see you and they meet you and it's like, wow, this person's real. This person's not just trying to like give me their business card behind, you know what I mean? Just trying to profit off this opportunity. They're actually having a human communication with me. Like they're talking, they're being kind. You know what I mean?
Man, they want to be treated like people, and you want to be treated like people. Let's just be people,
Like, it was like the other day, one thing that was like completely just caught me off guard. It was like when I was in New York, I went to go park in the lot that I usually park in, and I know the people, but this time I just gave the guy a tip, and I was like, hey man, like this is for you, like thanks for always taking care of me. And he gave me a discount, and I was like, wow. In a world, in the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps, like
they appreciate being appreciated.
Exactly. Like,
yeah, it's always pays to be nice. You don't never lose anything by being nice. Too many people like get mad at somebody or this or that, and they burn bridges, and that person might have been really important in your life, and you just haven't realized it yet.
yeah.
I look, the way I look at it is when two people get together, and this could be a matrimonial even kind of situation. You be you, I'll be me. If we get along, great. You shouldn't want somebody that you figure you could change into somebody else. It's like a lot of people when they get together that are musicians, and the other person doesn't want them doing that. They want them in a regular job and stuff like that. And oh my God, I could tell you stories about that. Oh my God, many, many, many of them. It's just, man, have fun, Back to that stupid thing I have on my wall. I have to turn the camera to it sometimes. It says, I am simply having fun with everything and everyone.
Yeah, you like to make everything to a game, so it's actually fun instead of just
and there's no law against it. My thing is, you could do anything you want in this world as long as you're not purposely hurting somebody else. That is a no-no, okay? But if I'm doing something that doesn't affect anybody else, I mean, great, I'm just going to be me, and whatever happens, happens. Yeah, I mean, God, back to the have fun but be professional thing. Yeah, you have to have fun, or your product's going to look or sound dead. And if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? But you got to be professional. You got to do it well. I mean, I have fun and I goof around and all that kinds of stuff, and I'm pretty laid back most of the time. But when I work, I put every ounce into it to make it just right. Oh, I've worked with songwriters that couldn't figure this out. But I'd take one sentence in a song that was bothering me, and I'd have a legal pad, and I would go through like 3 sheets of paper to get that one sentence just feeling and flowing right with the other sentences, and that stuff. Yeah, and I'll do that. It's got to feel right. You'll hear me saying this 10 gazillion times, people. I go by feel. I know a mix is done when it feels done. I know a song is done when it feels done. When you're out there as an artist, let out how you feel, and the audience will be with you.
And one of the best ways to feel is to actually close your eyes, whether you're making music or listening to music, and then all your senses are heightened, because then you're able to actually, and then instead of looking at it visually and you're like, oh, what are these meters doing? It's like, oh, how does it sound to my ears? Like, how do I feel?
That you bring up a good point I never really thought about. But when I worked, I had the studio here, and I worked. Yeah, people can't see the other end of this room, but what I did was half my office, which is pretty long, was his studio. And what I would do is when I was working with an artist, it depended if I went a live or sound or not, whether I put them under I had half the wall with soundproofing, half not. And I faced the board, closed my eyes, and see what happened. And if I got pooch bumps, I know they were feeling it. You know what I mean? And my body's weird. It just, if things are right, my head just starts automatically moving. I have no control, and my foot starts moving. Both of them, okay? And even though sometimes my feet get moving heavier because, oh man, I'm going to get up and dance because it's that kind of song. That's the feeling. Okay, fine. Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like I go above and beyond sometimes to be able to get that one take that makes me feel good. Like I'm the type of engineer and producer, like I don't like to delete anything. I always have every single vocal. Even if
Good.
even if you tell me specifically, make sure you delete that, or like no
Just don't
way.
use it in the mix. That's all.
Yeah, no way.
You just never know. It's called a safety. You can always have the safety, even when somebody does a great shot, great one. Let them do another.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I always do, side note, is I'm always recording. So watch yourself, because
Oh no, that's funny. I was just going to say the same thing. So many times when I was in, full standard studios, the screens and everything, and let's run through this song. We're going to do, set levels because there's a bunch of instruments in the room, drums and all that stuff, And the funny part is that, and I always told the engineer, whenever anybody's just studying, run the tape, because back then it was tape. Run the tape, because there was a lot of times they say they finish, going to the practice. Like I remember this percussionist one time, he just fell over. I said, we got to get the levels because you have these different percussive, drums and stuff. And we just let it run. And it was over. He says, okay, now you're all set. I said, it's done. He says, what? Yeah, we were recording it. Yeah. I always do that because people are just you never know. It might work, it might not. Oh, and this point of being real too, it brings up something else with, funny part is I forget whatever the original topic we were going to discuss. We actually talked a couple, but we're all over, but that's fun. It's real. Yeah. With me, with recording, I do almost all my vocals in one take. Now, people say, wow, that's amazing. You don't understand. The point is, I could do 20 takes or 30 or 50 takes. None are going to be better or worse. They're going to be different because the ad-libs might come to me differently. I might accent a thing, sometimes the way I'm breathing and stuff like that. Remind me to talk about breathing in a second on the microphone. Right. Go with breathing and stuff like that, all different kinds of, whatever happens, happens. I just get into the song and whatever happens, happens. The second time I do it, it might not sound totally different, within the notes of the song, obviously, and the feel and the things like that, because that's what I felt at that split second. Now, about the breathing. I think it was it Stevie Wonder, or was Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson? I forget. People get really upset when their breathing is on, you hear, I'm exaggerating, you know what I mean?
Of course.
The different breathing sounds, and they get the engineer to erase them all. Yeah. Let me tell you something. I'm pretty sure it was Stevie Wonder. What he did was he would do the song and then put breaths in it afterwards.
That way he has control over it.
He could get his breasts exactly the way he wanted them to sound.
People may think that's insane, but like I go through every single thing, and sometimes like certain consonants or there's some syllables like K, G, P, B, all those I go in and I fade them just slightly so they're not so in your face. Nowadays everything is so clean to the point where you hear everything. So even when it comes to breasts, I'll go through and lower them almost how like I have the luxury of it nowadays.
Well, and also see, about, and I don't know how many people out there know about, there's things called envelopes.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do when you hit it. We'll use a piano because that's the simplest to do. You hit the piano, that's your attack. And then it sustains for a while, okay? It decays a little, it goes ding. Then it sustains, and then it releases. Attack, decay, sustain, release. And like you said that if somebody went, pa, you can make it, wah, because you can adjust the attack. I've a lot of times made guitars into violins because a guitar has a quicker attack, where violin is more, and you can change one instrument to another just with this envelope. It has to do with sound design. I mean, I used to do it when I had my studio. That was part of my engineering was sound designing with synthesizers and samplers and the original computers that can only take so much work. They just didn't hold anything.
I got into sound design a lot because of I started off in EDM and I was doing a lot of like and that stuff. So all the synthesizers I was using, I was like, "Ooh, I like this, but I want it to be more like this." So I'd go in there, tweak my stuff, and got to the point where I learned the synthesizers, and that's why there's one thing I should probably note to people is that you don't need a million synthesizers. If you just learn one really well, like really, really well to the point where you can make anything by ear, you're better off using something that as opposed to buying something brand new that's going to cost
because you can. They don't understand. You're only recording computer data, which means you can even change the sound. You don't have to use the sound that was originally on the instrument with MIDI and stuff like that.
Yeah, the MIDI's in the computer, so it's not even like we have a million pieces of hardware gear sitting over here, 100 keyboards. It's like everything's in the box, and there's no point in using something that you don't know and spending all this money on it as opposed to using something you know. Because I went and bought everything. I thought that I needed this, I needed that, and then it came back to me just using the essentials and being able to use them the best. And the best music I've ever heard made by people were made on like computers that are like half broken computers from 1990s. And they're sitting here with basically no equipment and making the best music. It's not.
Hey, Willie, if you ever see Willie Nelson on a stage, sometimes he has this guitar with him. It is so full of holes. It was from the 30s, acoustic guitar. It's got it sounds great, And, my guitar has gotten a few dents over the years because my kids were slamming each other over the head with it. That happens with kids. Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people will see on a synthesizer, they'll see LFO. Now, they have no idea what a low frequency oscillator is, but that's how you can make your tremolo sounds. It's not hearable. It plays with your sounds, just phasing. There's all kinds of things. If you don't know what it does, and it's hard to explain what it sounds like, just play around. When you got something there, you're not going to break it, unless you take a sledgehammer. Mm-hmm. But just, play around. That's what I did. I mean, that's the first time I ever heard the word algorithms, which is so big with so much in computers and stuff nowadays. I mean, I had a DX7, which was the first digital synthesizer, and it worked by algorithms. And that's how I learned. It was very simple ones back then, but how to change sounds by taking out a piece of the algorithm and things.
Yep. And they are still to this day highly sought after, those ones, the DX7.
Yeah, but mine needs work. It needs a cleaning at least.
Yeah. I've cleaned a couple of them in my career, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, it's from 1982. That's when they first came out, the DX7s.
That was one of my jobs as an intern. Take apart the DX7 and clean every single thing.
Oh, my God.
Hey, listen, that's the other thing, too. People think that, like, BACEFACE is doing this and doing that. Like, I started as an intern. I interned 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. I had a bunch of internships just trying to get out there. I work for free. Like, I did not care. I just wanted to get my name out there and get better. So, like, don't always be looking for the monetization right away, saying, "Oh, you
Oh,
get paid. I need
I
to get paid."
I got a good example for you. Chris Chris Christopherson. Now, a lot of people might not know who he is, but at one time was a very top country. Well, he was contemporary country, which means more outlaw country, rocking, country. And he ended up being a really big star with as a country artist, and he acted in a lot of movies too. Now, here's the funny part. He started out, he was what is known as, you might never have heard of it, he was a Rhodes Scholar. Means he was one of like 10 people they took in the whole country because he was such a genius. And he goes over to Oxford University, was in England, okay? And he was a Rhodes Scholar. Did he use all that stuff? No. He went to a Nashville studio and he worked as an intern cleaning toilets and everything else. This is a guy who could have made a fortune.
Yeah, of
He
course.
ended up making a lot of money, but he was doing what he liked to do. And he started out as an intern. I mean, it's a really
Some of the
cool
most successful
story.
people on earth have started out as interns, and to me, it's like the most humbling experience you can go through. I mean, I've even done it in the last couple of years. I when I started going out to New York, I mean, I don't have to tell the whole story, but I went to New York after working in Philly. Since, I mean, I graduated from Temple University. I was working in the studio that whole time. Then I was like, all right, I need to go see what working with the best is like. So I went and did that, and I started from scratch. I wasn't getting paid for an entire year. I traveled to New York from Philadelphia, making $0 for an entire year to be able to get myself out there.
Well, a lot of people
It takes guts.
don't have the ability to be able to do that because sometimes they have to earn money and things like that. I remember one artist worked 3 jobs to be able to pay me the little I was asking for to record in my studio. Those are the people that make it.
Of course.
It's also people, that just don't have the fancy things in life because they want to be an intern and they want to end up doing what they want to do.
Mhm.
No matter what, it takes time and work. I learned by hard knocks. Basically, I was thrown into the fire at 16, so I, of course, made some mistakes back then. But that's a great thing about this show. You don't have to go through all the mistakes that I've been through and all the different situations. Not always mine, just
Mhm.
it's also my clients and the people I help. Pooch, get me out of this mess. I try to prevent people from ever having to go through what I went through, or any of my clients have had to go through. All over different kinds of things,
Yeah.
And,
And that's one of the main things to take away from the show is that we are trying to help everybody we were trying to cut the learning curve for a lot of people. Cause I mean, there's a lot of things that are mystified in the music industry that this show will help demystify, to be able to show everybody what's going on behind the scenes. So they're not just left in the dark when it's time to get paid, or all the other people are getting paid, but they're not.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, boy, I don't know where we're at or how much
Yeah,
time we
well, we
spend.
covered a lot of different things today, and it was more open format, but I feel that this is as real as
These
you
are the
can get.
best. I think these
Yeah,
are the best because it's real life of what goes on, and you'll see. That's why it's so important to see every single episode. There's no commercials or anything. We just, the more you see, the quicker it'll click. That's what you want. It's a click. Oh, I understand now.
of
A lot
course.
of my books are like that. You have to read the whole book and then realize, oh, you know, and it just because it's the way of looking at different things and showing what real life is about, and we're life in the music business. That's why I definitely wanted it that way. As BACEFACE said in the beginning, it's self-empowerment for music business entrepreneurs. And I'll bet everybody listening to this is an entrepreneur, whether they know it or not.
Hmm.
And get used to that term. It just means you're your own boss, in effect. And, just like if you went to work for somebody else, they're telling you what to do. Well, why don't you just tell yourself what to do? I know people hate the word, but what it is self-discipline. Just call it self-leadership. You're leading yourself, rah, rah,
Yeah.
and have fun with it. If you're not hurting anybody, have fun and
And
just do your thing.
for the people that don't know, we use Zoom to record majority of our shows, and there's actually a feature on here that limits both, like if I were to speak and Pooch were speaking, then it would cut him off, so I would speak. And so now we were able, I was able to figure out how to nip that in the butt. So now there's going to be more. It's more of a more dialogue than you guys are probably used to, but it's just going to grow from here.
Yeah, I mean, we're just being ourselves, as people.
part.
I hope you notice we basically ad lib everything. It's just real life. That's one reason I pulled back from acting. I mean, God bless actors. I did a lot of movies myself, about 35 indie films. I've been in a lot of music videos, et cetera, et cetera. I don't always look like this even. They make me into all kinds of creatures. But where was I going with this? Yeah, but the problem I was having with acting is I don't like reading lines, learning lines. I just want to talk.
Yeah.
And just let loose. And most of the movie directors are really nice with me. All right, Pooch, how would you say that? And they let me, as long as I stayed with somewhere in the script, they let me go. But I just want to be me. It's like, it's a rule I have. I don't mind I do a lot of people interview me on different radio shows and podcasts and this and that. And I have one rule with them. I don't want to know the questions beforehand. Just throw them at me. I'll deal with them somehow, But it'll be real. It's real people, I mean, and I'll say some stupid things once in a while, but I learned a big lesson. When you say stupid things, people will say to you, oh, a year from now, you'll laugh about it. I just move up the timetable and I laugh about it now. We all say stupid things. We all do embarrassing things here and there. I just laugh about it. I just move the timetable. Why do I have to wait a year to laugh about it? It's just, I'm me. I screw up sometimes. That's all.
Of course, as we all do. Nobody's perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. So
Perfect's an opinion.
yeah, exactly. Just try to do the best that you can for you and your career, and that's what we are here to do, is help you guys excel and be able to be the best that you can be for yourselves and be able to make it, and whatever making it is for you.
Yeah, and one of my major things is, you'll notice, is a lot of people stuff, a lot of life stuff. That's why self-empowerment. One of the things I try to do with my people when I work with them and teach them or whatever, is that they can stay somewhat sane throughout the process and not drive themselves crazy or let the pressures hit them. There's ways of looking at things. We're trying to show you the easiest ways to deal with things and stuff like that, learning from our mistakes and stuff and experience. It just, yeah, I mean, it's really important. Just, stay sane with it. If there's a lot of drama around you, learn to look at the drama without being drawn into it. If you want to write a song about it, that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't be nice to people, but you don't want to be drawn into drama that's going to bring you down.
Of course, you want to separate yourself from negativity, because it'll, in the long run, it doesn't matter how close the people are to you, because in the long run, it'll be better off for you, because you'll be able to stay focused and not have to deal with external problems.
Oh boy, yeah, and yeah, one person could bring down 10. One negative person can bring down 10 positive people. I just don't let it happen. I just, stay away from them. That's why ain't going to bring me down, because I think we went through in one episode somewhat, is that, everything is energy vibrating at a certain frequency. Well, the most elemental form of that is sound, but you can see vibrations. Have you ever seen any computer program? You see frequencies and things like that. It's for tones, high, low, kinds of stuff. As different frequencies. Well, like frequencies attract like frequencies. If you're a happy-go-lucky and having fun person, you're going to attract more of those people. The vibes are going to meet up. And if you're on a negative plan and really low, if you're acting negative, you're only going to draw negative people to you, because it's the vibrations. They look for a similar frequency. The easiest example, proof of it, when you're using an AM FM radio, you tune into a certain frequency. It might be 102.9 FM or something like that. And you just tune it in and you expect to hear a certain program on that frequency. These are frequencies, folks. Everything's energy and it's vibrating. It's all it's energy, vibrations, and frequencies. Everything in life. Your thoughts are energy. You give off upper thoughts, you'll be more, like vibes will attract like vibes. It's just very simple, But it's hard to conceive sometimes, but this is really important stuff, and sound is the most elemental form. And by the way, BACEFACE, remind me, we have to talk about frequencies, certain frequencies that do certain things. I don't think we covered that, I think I might have mentioned 174 was great for my back pain.
Yeah.
But frequencies are very important. By the way, they're finding out it's in experimental stage right now, 40 hertz. 40 hertz was pretty low, humble. 40 hertz with Alzheimer's patients. It's been helping.
Wow.
It doesn't cure you, but all of a sudden you're more alert, and it holds off the problems of losing, feel like you're losing your mind for the rest of your life.
Well, God bless. That's all I could say about that. And
well, they've done experiments on it, with doctors and stuff. It's still in the experimental stage. It might get buried because they can't make any money off of it. That's why too many things are killed in this universe, because it doesn't make money like energy. Energy can be free, but they can't make money off of it, so they bury all those kinds of things.
It's a shame, but
well, it's killing our earth. Too much oil and all this stuff like that, and they got all this other stuff. All right, before we, I know we're way over time probably. So what I'm going to say is, tune in for the next episode, folks. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. And thank you again for everybody that's been liking, subscribing, and joining our podcast. Feel free, just continue sharing and join along, because there's so many things to learn in this game. And I'm a student here myself, learning from Pooch and being able to demystify the music industry for myself. So join along with me as we all grow and learn from the knowledge that Pooch is here to give us. And in the process,
hey, I'm learning stuff from you guys too. I'm still into learning.
Of course.
You feel like you've learned everything. Why even stick around? I'm constantly learning stuff every day. My old joke is you can teach an old Pooch new tricks. To play with that old metaphor.
Nice.
Go ahead.
All right, guys. Well, again, thanks again. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching. Tune in for the next episode.